Hello and welcome to the introductory video on the PYP reports machine. I'm going to go ahead and launch the file that I've just downloaded from the website. When you load any system, you need to click Enable Macros, and the system runs within Microsoft Excel, so you need to make sure you have Microsoft Excel installed on your desktop computer. Also, when you load, you will need to enable content that allows the system to communicate with the licensing server. Now, speaking of the license, mine is already set up. There's a license tab down here at the bottom, and you can see there's a license there, and I've entered the product key, which gives me however many days of the license. And as soon as you've done that, your front page will look something like this. Now here we've got strips going across for up to 30 students, and I'm just going to use one as an example. So this is going to be a student called Sam, last name C, well whatever, but the last name doesn't form part of the report, so you can even leave that blank if you like. And he's a male student. Now this section here, it allows you just to type in your own sort of teacher report. If you want to keep your own written reports or any other comments within, or notes even, within the system, you can type away into this green box. All the green boxes on the system are actually there designed to be used for final saved reports. Moving along then, this is where it starts to generate reports. Now, we've got 6 units of inquiry available in this system. To make it a little bit easier to get around, I'm actually going to hide units of inquiry, let's see, from 2 all the way down to 6. I'm actually going to hide all of these columns, and you can do this as well if you're only doing a report for a unit of inquiry plus language arts and maths, for example, which is what I'm going to show you. Then you can feel free to hide columns to make it a bit cleaner on the front end. So let's start with the units of inquiry. Now you'll notice it's already got a report generated here for Sam, and this is based off a few bits of data. So we've got an IB grade here, we've got an effort grade, a knowledge grade, and an ATL skill mentioned as well. If I hit refresh, you actually get a few different examples. Now for this, the way the system is set up, I believe there's at least 20 different options per student, and that is per student with the same data. Of course, it's highly unlikely that you'll have 30 students with the same data, so it's going to be very likely that every single report is going to be different. So if you have a look at the sort of language used here, it should correspond with the grades assigned. So for example, at the moment we've got Sam can use his knowledge and skills to explain and build upon his understanding of how communities are connected. He's able to build upon his understanding that communities function when people share roles and responsibilities because of his consistent level of effort and attentiveness. Sam selects appropriate actions to further his knowledge and support his skill development. Sam's next steps are to evaluate how communities function in familiar and unfamiliar situations. So you can see that's probably quite a comprehensive report for Sam based on this data. Now let's change the data for Sam. Let's say give him a 4, and then maybe let's keep his effort at a 2, but let's drop his knowledge down to a 1. And let's say he's maybe approaching expectations. So Sam is able to show how he can lead a balanced lifestyle with minor gaps and a few misunderstandings. He is beginning to understand that communities function when people share roles and responsibilities, yet he continues to show a consistent level of effort and attentiveness. Sam identifies something he wants to know and asks connected questions that can be researched. Sam's next steps are to use his knowledge and skills to explain how communities are connected. So you can see the language has changed a little bit. If you're not quite happy with how that report sounds, you can hit refresh and you get a new one. And it's basically saying the same general things, except in different words and in different sentences. So we've got 6 of these available to be used. I've hidden the other 5, but there are 6 in total. So you could use this for the entire year. As you go through the units of inquiry, you just add in your data and you get a nice little report comment. Once you're happy with the report comment, you can just hit save and it'll jump down into this green box. So eventually, when you save the sheet, this one stays put, and then you can still refresh this one. If you're still not quite sure, you can then copy it back into here and of course clear. So the green boxes are designed to be there for the final reports that you're planning to copy out. I'll show you that actually. You can save it and then you can just copy and paste out into any online reporting system, ManageBack, iSAMS, SIMS, whatever system your school uses, you can do it. So moving on to the other elements. We've got language arts and maths and mathematics. We've got criteria A, B, C and D for language arts, and we've got A, B, C, D and E for mathematics. And it's much the same idea with a few differences. So I'll use the mathematics one as it's got more data points. So if you have a look at the topic headings, we've got data handling, measurements, pattern and function, shape and space, and number. We've also got this grey effort box, and we've got an average grade that's automatically calculated out of these and adjustment boxes. So so let's start from the beginning actually. Let's get rid of all the data. And let's say we've completed criteria A, B and C so far. So I'm going to give Sam a 5 for A, 3 for C and a 6. 3 for B and 6 for C. And let's see what the report has generated for him. This term in mathematics, Sam worked well through the criteria and achieved a final level 5 grade overall. Sam did particularly well in pattern and function, where he found a clear strength and worked quickly and carefully through the tasks. Sam could improve his final grade in future by focusing on measurement topic tasks in particular and improving how he communicates his solutions. Sam should be proud of his accomplishments in mathematics this term, and with a bit more focus, he will soon see the higher levels. Now looking back on his data, it's talking about how he did particularly well in pattern, which is right. There we go. His highest score was a 6, and that was in pattern and function. And it says he could improve his final grade by focusing more on the measurement. So it's picked up his highest score and his lowest score, and it's assigned a comment based on this and on this. It's said level 5 grade overall. Depending on how your school does it, you don't have to mention the number or the grade in this comment. I'll show you how to edit the comments later. But for now, this is just coming from the average grade. So it uses the average grade, it uses this section of grades, and like you can see, you don't have to use all of them. You can use, say, these 3. Say you've done these topics so far, and it will talk about he's still got a level 5, but he's still his top level in pattern, but now it should say to improve his overall grade, Sam should aim to improve his work for the number topic. So it already picks up that instantly. And again, we can refresh. So every time you hit refresh, you get a newly worded comment, basically saying the same thing, but in different words. So if you've got siblings in your class, or you want your reports to look a little bit more individualized, and it just helps to have that sort of variance in the reports. Now, effort is an optional comment. So as soon as you enter an effort comment, you actually get another sentence in here. So if we read back through again, in mathematics, Sam has done well this term, and through some good work submitted, he has achieved an average level 5 grade overall. His results for each topic have been mostly consistent this term, and he has always put in a good level of effort into the content covered. Now it goes on to talk about the same things that we saw before, but that second sentence has appeared now, and it's actually talking about the effort and the consistency of these results. Let me show you what will happen if we make the results inconsistent. Though he's put a good level of effort into his work, his results have not been consistent across all content and topics covered. So it picks up if he's getting the similar kind of grades, or if he's got a very low grade, it will know, and it will mention it in this report comment. If, for example, he's got straight 4s, of course his average is going to be a 4. But you might be wondering, well, what happens with the target sort of comment and the praise comment? So if we look at this sentence by sentence, we've got an introduction, we've got a mention of the the consistency and the efforts, because we've got this effort grade in here. Then it chooses a strength to talk about. Then it chooses a improvement to talk about. So in this case, how does it know which one is the strength and which one is the improvement? Because we feel that you should always mention a strength and an improvement, even if you've got straight 4s, for example. You're 4s across the board, but you want to still praise the student for something. This is where the adjustments come in. So if you want to say that maybe Sam did particularly well in his measurement, maybe that's where he made the most progress, you just need to type B in here. And then Sam did particularly well in measurement, where he was able to show his understanding clearly. And maybe you want to set the target to number. So you type in E, and then it says to improve his overall grade, Sam should aim to focus his work for the number topic. So it's quite customizable, but also, this is quite rare, I'd say. So usually you won't have to adjust the strengths and targets unless you want to. You don't have to include this. You could blindly make the reports, and they should make sense just based on the data. Of course, you know your students, and once you've saved your report comment into here, the one that you like, you can then also go into it and edit it as much as you like in there to customize it further if you wish. So the language arts comments work exactly in the same way, except there's less criteria to cover. And we've got 6 of these, and of course all you need is the student's name and gender. Now, interestingly, if we change, let's say Sam is actually a girl, if we just type in F into there, if you read across all the grey comments, the non-saved comments, of course the saved comments stay the same, but these should be written for a female student now. So Sam uses her knowledge and skills to understand her, to explain her understanding. Sam identifies something she wants to know, and so on and so on. So you've got the ability to quickly switch genders and names, of course. Let's call this Sarah instead of Sam now. Of course, every mention of Sam has now changed to Sarah. And we've also got the time period. Now, if you are assessing per semester, for example, if we type in semester at the top, if you have used, let's see if they've used for these comments. Here we go. Sarah has found, Sarah has a few misunderstandings and minor gaps in language arts this semester. So you can change this to any time period. Just make sure it's written with a small letter at the beginning or non-capitalized word. Then it should make sense. Sarah can communicate basic understanding of most concepts and contexts in language arts this year, and so on. So you can very quickly change these little details, which will allow the system to be used throughout the year. Also, interestingly, you can have this system ready and set up so that as you go through these topics, you can just type in the number score and you'll have your report comment ready well ahead of time. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to edit the actual text that is used to build the comments. The text comes from these tabs along the bottom. So this is for language arts, this is for maths, just next to it, because they're very similar in their format. Then we've got Unit of Inquiry 1, Unit of Inquiry 2, and so on and so on. And these are all the comments that are actually used. So if you would like to have a go at creating your own comments, and I'm sure you would like to, because this is only talking about communities topic, and certain this is set up for one particular year group, but you may want to adjust it for your own use. You can very easily, but just by typing into here, and I'll explain that in a further video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you later.